Thank you. So when I first started practicing Buddhism, it was in 2008. It was my New Year's resolution that I should, start meditation. And I was working in Manhattan. I was in advertising and marketing. I was in the fashion industry, and so my first, the New Year's resolution was for me to, have some peace of mind. And, I was, Manhattan was a crazy city, and my job and things like that. And that's how I started. So, and then I ended up becoming a nun. So all of you all be careful if it's your first time. And that's how it all began for me. It was that one meditation session, one New Year's resolution that I went to. And what happened was, what got me was this very prayer, the refuge prayers that we do. And the last sentence here, which says, "May I accomplish Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings." So this is something that, struck a chord within my heart. And I said, this is something I want to do. Buddhism is not about just for yourself. It is to benefit all beings. Once you start learning meditation, once you start practicing meditation, and when you have a peaceful mind, you have a happy and joyous mind. And when you have a happy and joyous mind, you attract happy people towards you. So, and then being happy, having that state of mind, this is another way of generosity, that when you meet people, you're in a peaceful state of mind, you're in a joyous state of mind. And here, when they talk about generosity, what they mean by that is there are 6 paramitas, one being generosity. And generosity can be many things, even a smile. When I was in the airport, I was trying to pick my suitcase, and there was this lady. She said, "Oh, let me help you," and she was so joyful, and she had such a lovely smile, and it made me smile. So generosity is that as well, smiling warmly. There's many ways of giving, and that's another way of generosity. And so this is what the text is. About benefiting others. Now, as a monk, my ultimate goal is to become enlightened. And when you are enlightened, you can help millions of people at the same time. And you can have other goals. You can have short-term goals, which is, just to have some peace in your heart, a peaceful state of mind, a happy state of mind. So today, I'll be teaching you. So just a little bit about myself. I live in a monastery in New York, and it's funny, isn't it? There are monasteries in New York. And it's a very funny situation. I was born in India, in southern part of India, and I had to cross 3 continents to come and meet my teacher who lived in New York. Everybody goes to India to meet their gurus, and I had to come to America to meet my guru. Although my guru was born in Tibet, and he also came from India to New York. So first it was my New Year's resolution, to start meditation. And once I started doing my meditation practice, I said, oh my God, there's something to this. We also started doing Chenrezi chanting. The text Chenrezi. There's surely a picture somewhere there. Yes, that's a picture of Chenrezi. He has 4 arms, and that is the practice. When I used to go to Manhattan in the city, we started with a meditation session, and then we read some text, Dharma text, and then we also would recite the Chenrezi sadhana. It's a beautiful practice. Now, Chenrezi is the Lord of compassion, and something started switching within me. And, I used to when I used to go to work, we had some very, very serious bosses. They took their lives very, very seriously. And I remember when I started this practice, basically, as it says, you are praying for every human being on this earth, all the sentient beings. Some shift was happening that I was attracting all the wonderful energy towards me. And my boss would sometimes be so grumpy. One day when I walked in, she said, "Hello there, how are you?" And I was like, oh my God, this is working. This Chenrezig practice is working. And that's when I said I should go deeper into this. And then I started visiting the monastery, which was an hour and a half from Manhattan. And I would go and volunteer, and I would go and cook. And there was the abbot. And when I first saw my abbot, actually I met him when I started my meditation. Within 10 days, the teacher, Lama Aria Rinpoche, came to Manhattan to give a discourse on Chenrezig. And the minute I saw him, I knew that I had found my teacher, because he embodied compassion. He was so loving. His kindness, his compassionate ways really captured my heart. And I said, this is what I want to be. I want to be the same. So I started going to the monastery, which is a beautiful monastery. It's an hour and a half from Manhattan. And then within a year, somebody said, as I was going, a monk said, people are coming out of the retreat next year. Why don't you go into the retreat? And I was like, oh my God, to the retreat, 3.5-year retreat? I've never done anything like that. I haven't even done a 1-month retreat. So I thought about it, and I said, it was something within my heart which said, go for it. And so I gave up my job. I didn't have a family, which was good because, it would have been difficult to convince them. And so I just dived in. I said, I'm just going to go dive in and learn to fly, jump out of the window, in the sense the retreat is really, really, it takes a lot of commitment, in the sense you'll have to do your Nandro practice, which is a preliminary practice. But our teacher was my rock, who constantly encouraged me to do this. And I felt so blessed to have done this 3.5-year retreat. It's very, very intense. You get the whole transmission, the lineage transmission, when you're in the retreat. And it's such a safe place to do your retreat. So it's highly recommended if somebody is thinking of a 3.5-year retreat or even a 1-year retreat, 1 month. It's always good to go and do a retreat. And why do you do these retreats? The retreats are good for your own benefit, for your own self, for some quietness, some peace, some happiness. So very highly recommended. And I came out in 2015, and then we had to, Rinpoche, the abbot of Kaju Tupten Choling Monastery, the teacher, he was building this beautiful temple, and we all helped, and we had the Kagyu Munlam there. And here I am now, 2018. I'm still an ordained nun, and I feel so blessed to stay in that very, very special place in Kaju Tupten Choling Monastery. And I'm so happy to be here today with you all. And all this, my whole life changed from one day working in Manhattan in advertising and marketing, just going to a meditation class. I saw how beneficial it was to me. And that was the most significant thing. I hope that, the meditation techniques that you learn will benefit you as well. So today, I'll be teaching you introduction to calm abiding meditation. And these are very, very simple steps for developing a daily meditation practice. My goal and intention is that you can take these simple steps and just practice even for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and continue like that. That's my whole intention. So, when I was in Hawaii one day, my friend said, there was this beautiful hotel, and very high-end hotel. And he said, we must go there because there's this amazing meditation room. So we went to this place, and I think for a day or something, it was $300 or something like that. And this room was magnificent. The whole room had like a TV screen where there were waves and everything. And the chair had some revolving kind of a thing where, it did all the meditation for you. And I was like, oh my God, how can anyone pay, per day $300 to sit in all these gadgets, and you had to put a lot of eye mask and things like that. And I assure you, you don't need any of that. All you need is yourself. You can sit in this meditation, what I'm going to be teaching you. So the big question is, why do we meditate? And the answer is simply to have a happy state of mind. And of course, as I mentioned, for the monks and nuns, they want to meditate so eventually they can become enlightened. And here we are in the 21st century, and we have all these amazing gadgets, like you put in your bread and the toast comes out, microwaves, this, that, all your hand phones, you can just text somebody at this moment, and one would think your life would be easier, right? But it's not. You have to answer now. You have to do emails, Twitter, Facebook, and hundreds of things. And there's so much stress and anxiety with all these latest gadgets. Sometimes I wish I didn't have my iPhone or all these gadgets, which is going to make your life easier. It's more complex. And so there's a lot of stress and anxiety. We always have to be on top of everything. I'm sure all of you are wondering today, I've got to answer all these emails, I've got to do all the text. So there's much more stress and anxiety. But the good news is meditation helps you get rid of all this anxiety. It's a consistency. Every day you just meditate for a few moments and then slowly build that up. And that's how you practice. And this moment, you can tell yourself, this is the moment for myself. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to practice meditation. So, now today I'll be teaching you calm abiding meditation. And what is in Tibetan, calm abiding meditation is called Shinay. And Shi means peace, and Ne means to abide. So when you start your meditation, you need to have calmness, and in that calmness you need to abide. So it's a very Shinay is it's a literal translation. Shi is peace, and then Ne to rest there. But you know what? I really like the Tibetan word for meditation is Gom. It's like Gom. And what is Gom? Gom means to familiarize yourself with your mind, to become familiar with your mind, to become a friend with your mind. And that's a word I love. The reason being is, our minds are so crazy. It goes from one thought to another. It's like constantly chattering. And if you make your mind a friend, like when we were in the retreat, our teacher would always say, watch your mind. Listen to what your thoughts are. And I never realized that you can even watch your mind. I never realized you can listen to your thoughts. And so this is the key to constantly now, from today onwards, you're going to learn new habits. What you do when you go home, just say, what am I thinking? What are my thoughts? Watch your thoughts. Listen to your thoughts. Look at your thoughts. And normally, if you were really to write down every thought of yours, they don't make any sense. You may, see this beautiful red flower, and you'll say, oh, that's a beautiful flower. When I was a young child, I would give my teacher a red rose. And then automatically you would say, oh, I loved red apples. They don't connect. And suddenly you'll say, oh my God, it was my birthday and I didn't get any red flowers from my friend. And then you'll get upset. So this mind has a lot of mental afflictions. And if you really look at your mind, it has happy thoughts. You may say, oh, I'm a very happy person. But mostly it has a lot of mental afflictions. It's kind of in our DNA, in the sense it's very easy for anger, for hatred, jealousy to arise. And that is what we want to subdue. That's something we want to slowly get rid of. And then instead of that, to build compassion, to build love. That's what we want to do. Because when you have compassion, when you have love, you're in a happy state of mind. How many of you all gravitate to people who are peaceful? Right? And how many of you all want to stay away from those stressful people? Very good. So when we start the meditation, there are there are only two main keys. One is your body posture, and second is your mind. So I will go through 7 postures of the body, Now, these postures were somebody didn't come up with these postures like last year. This was 2,500 years ago, even before Buddha's time, that they came up with these postures. And it's mostly like the master teaching the student, all these, and it came back to us. So this is called the 7 postures of Vairochana, and you can always go and Google it. And Vairochana means illuminating, and that's what it is. So now the first thing is, it's perfectly all right for you to sit on the chair, or you can sit on the floor. That's perfectly good. So when you sit on the chair, what you can do is keep your legs parallel to the ground and not crossed. And another thing is, it's best not to lean on the back seat. And these are all guidelines I'm going to give you. But the most important thing is for you to be comfortable. So sit comfortably. So slowly, you don't have to, lean on the back seat, but your legs should be parallel, okay? And then the second thing, now the people who are comfortable to sit on the floor, great. You can sit like the Buddha's posture. That's the lotus. That may not be easy for anyone, or comfortably, to keep your legs in the lotus position. Or they also call it the bodhisattva. Your one leg is further, as comfortable as you can. Now the key is, if you put the cushion behind, to the back, you can raise your bottoms a little bit, and that's a good way to sit. Now your back should be very straight. In the Tibetan tradition, they say, it's almost like a stack of coins. So your back should be straight. And anyone who has any backaches, sit as straight as you can and ease into it. The most important thing is you should be relaxed, okay? Now the hands. There are 2 ways to do it. One is just place your palms like this, and then just place it on your knees wherever it falls. And the other way is, take your right hand and place it on your left, and your 2 thumbs touching very gently. Now if you do this, right over your left and your 2 thumbs touching, just put it on your lap, wherever it falls. So that's very good. You'll see this posture mostly on the tankas of Buddha statues. This is another meditation posture. And then we'll go back to the jaws. Your jaws are relaxed, your tongue is resting on your upper palate, which is normally resting. And now you can look up your head. So in this tradition, the Shinay practice that we're doing, your head is slightly tilted like this. So your gaze is kind of, your eyes gaze will be on the floor level. So you can look at me again. So now what you do, you take your 4 fingers and put it to the tip of your nose. And wherever your gaze falls, now keep your your gaze a little bit further away from your body, because when you do it too close to your body, your mind becomes a little bit limited. So here again, tip of your nose, like 12 inches or 8 inches, wherever your gaze falls. Pick a spot. So today, the meditation will be on an object. It can be a scratch on the floor or a dent on the thing. You pick anything in front of you. I would have loved to give you all a small flower, but you could also keep at home. You can keep a small flower in front of you. You can keep a Buddha statue. You can even keep a flame. So you can keep. So for now, we will put your eyes, gaze at this object in front of you. It can be a small mark. It can be a scratch or anything that you put. So all of you all found a spot in front of you? That's a yes. Wonderful. And now your shoulders. We all love to sit comfortably like this. So the shoulders are supposed to be squared. And in the tradition, it says almost like a vulture, the minute it flies up, it's like that. But for now, what you'll do is it's squared. So I went through these 7 postures. One is your back being straight. The second, if you're sitting on the floor, it's okay to put your feet parallel on the floor like that. Better not to sit cross-legged. And then if you're sitting as you're sitting on the floor, you can keep a nice, comfortable lotus position, relaxed. And your hands are placed on, the right hand on your left with your thumbs and placed on your lap, or your palms down and placed wherever it falls. And your jaws are relaxed, your tongue is resting on the upper palate, head is slightly tilted, your eyes is gazing downward 4 to 8 inches away from tip of your nose. You found a spot, and so just put your gaze. Now please look up. So when you found that gaze, it's very important that you don't focus on that gaze with all your concentration. When you're looking at the gaze, it's almost like as though you're in the beach and watching the sunset. That's how your gaze over that object should be. Very relaxed. And there's a reference, when a shepherd is sitting and watching his sheep, he's not like looking at one sheep concentrating, but he's looking at this whole thing. And so for you to have that sense, I'll show you what you do. Wherever your gaze is, put both your fingers there. And then just put your fingers further away so you can see from the corner of your eyes everything, what's happening around here. Even though your gaze is here, but you can see everything. You're very relaxed, so you have a peripheral vision like this. And this is only because your gaze shouldn't be studying anything. So whatever object you have picked, don't study it. Don't say, oh my God, I should pick another one. No, just put your gaze gently on it. You're not studying it. You're not looking at the color, the shape or anything. It's just for a reference, a gaze like that. And so now I do want to ask if you all have any questions with the posture. Was it clear? Do you want any other guidance? Yes.
I just struggle with how far forward or close to me to put my gaze.
Okay, so don't put it this close, and you can just put it, where 4 to 8 inches, like that. Yes. Yeah. How do you feel? Do you feel it's too far? Yes. What feels good to you? You can even bring it a little closer. Yes.
I was wondering, after I meditate after a while, I notice my back starts falling forward.
Yes.
And if you had any tips or recommendations for that.
Yes. So, it's normal for us to feel a little bit comfortable, but the key is to keep your back very straight. Why do we keep the back straight? Because there are a lot of wind energies within you. And when you keep your back straight, the mind settles down. So it's important for you to, even the way you sit, each hand gesture, every moment, all these positions, it is so important for you to sit with your back straight because of the wind energies. They can write volumes on the posture itself. So, when Marpa, the translator, when he went to India to get all the teachings, and he took all the teachings to Tibet, he said the sitting posture itself, what I spoke about, is worth in gold. So it's a conscious effort. It's like when you go to the gym to train your body. It's like training for you to be straighter. Lama Matthew, I wanted to come to show something on the ground. Is it okay? Anyone else have any questions about the posture? Okay. So now, the second essential point, and the most important point, is your mind. So the mind, right now, the mind needs an anchor. The mind needs a focus. The mind needs an attention. Why does it need one? Because the mind is constantly going, having crazy thoughts. And every time you have a crazy thought, you have an emotion that comes up with it. And that's how, your anger, your hatred, or jealousy keeps arising. And everything is related to your thoughts. So when I went to do the 3.5-year retreat, the 3.5-year retreat is, what is it? It is to find out the nature of your mind. The whole study is to find out the nature of your mind. So right now, you're going to have, because the mind is going from one thought to another, and sometimes when you're stressed, that's what it is doing. That's how you get stressed. So in the meditation practice, we are going to put our mind's attention on the object, and that is how we're going to place the mind. Now, there are many, many different techniques. You can put your mind's attention on the breath. You can put your mind's attention on the mantra. And I will be doing different sessions, different techniques for tomorrow and Sunday as well. Okay? So for today, we are going to put our mind's attention on the object in front. So, everyone has a mark or an object in front. So we'll all sit upright, and you found a little spot or something. Yes? So now in this tradition, a very important thing, we keep our eyes opened. Now why do we keep our eyes opened? Because we are sleepwalking. And it's very easy to close our eyes and fall asleep. It's a lovely Friday evening, we finished our work, it's a lovely spot to come here, and very easily we can fall asleep. So it's good to keep your eyes open. Now for anyone who haven't practiced with your eyes open, it's okay to initially keep your eyes closed, but slowly keep your eyes open. So the whole point is keeping your eyes open. So again, put your 4 fingers to the tip of your nose, find that spot, that object in front of you, and your eyes are always half gazed. Okay, they're not fully open, but they're like half wide open. So let's sit for a moment in this posture. Okay. And now, when we initially start a meditation, it's like, when you have a phone, when somebody rings the phone, that means somebody's calling you, or somebody rings the doorbell, somebody's going to come in, so it's a sign. So what we can do when we start a meditation, we will initially take 3 breaths, very deep breaths, a little bit exaggerated. But when we start a meditation, the breath should be very normal. It should be according to your own rhythm of breathing, okay? When you breathe. So initially when we start, what I'll do now is, we'll take 3 deep breaths, and then I'll ring the gong and I'll give you a guided meditation, okay? So let's take the 3 deep breaths. And so when you go home and when you practice, when you sit, do this as well, when you start the meditation. So we'll do the breath. You all did that very well. Congratulations. Thank you. So now I'll ring the gong and we'll all get into the posture. Put your attention on the gaze gently. Inhale, and as you breathe in, let the breath go in all the way. And as you breathe out, let the breath fill the entire space in front of you. And just relax in that present moment of awareness. Inhale and exhale. Breathe normally. And as you breathe out, let your breath fill the entire space in front of you. And just rest in that present moment of awareness. Completely let go and rest. And bring your eye on the object in front of you. Do not study the object, but gently place your gaze on it. Anytime you catch yourself thinking, just say thinking and bring your attention back to the object in front of you. Inhale and exhale. Breathe normally. And as you exhale, let your breath fill the entire space in front of you and relax in that present moment of awareness. Inhale and exhale. Breathe normally. Breathe gently. And as you breathe out, let your breath fill the entire space in front of you and just relax in that present moment of awareness. Don't stop your thoughts. The minute you catch yourself thinking, just acknowledge thinking and bring your attention back to the gaze in front of you. Don't study the object, just slightly gaze at it. It doesn't matter how many times your mind wanders. The minute you catch yourself thinking, say thinking and bring your gaze back, your attention, your mind's attention on that object. Okay, relax. So all you have to do is just where you're sitting, Just relax. If you feel like stretching your legs, you can do so. And any time you feel you want to sit on the chair, and that's also perfectly fine. So the idea is, to start off when you're starting meditation, do short moments and then build up the time from 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 minutes. And then you can build it up to 30 minutes. But the good thing is, our teacher would say, do the meditation for short moments. That is more important. And that's how you're going to learn. And that's how you're going to train your body and your mind. Anyone has any questions, any thoughts? Yes?
Yes, I've always meditated with my eyes closed.
Yes.
And what would you say is the main difference because now it's one of the first times that I've done it gazing at something, and I did notice my vision blurred while I was very into it.
Yes.
I've never experienced that, but before today I've always done it with the eyes closed. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Yes. So when you keep your eyes opened on that spot, you feel your eyes are blurred. Is that... Yes. So perhaps what you could do is, if at home when you practice this with the meditation with the object, you can keep even a small pebble. And maybe there's a lot of red there or something like that. It must be blurring. You can even keep a small flower or a Buddha statue or whatever you feel. Something small where you're not going to study the object at all. You're just putting your gaze there. You're just putting your attention there. And so when you feel blurred, what you do, you immediately tell yourself, relax, relax, and not to gaze at some words and everything, because, all your conceptual thinking starts. Just put your gaze there, and again, bring your finger and do the peripheral vision, what I mentioned. It's like our Rinpoche, our teacher, said, it's like when you're driving, you can see the road, but you can also see what's happening around. Your focus is not so much. So it's something like that when you're keeping your gaze. And the reason I mentioned to keep your eyes open is this is a new way you will learn. Normally you'll keep your eyes open. It's very easy for you to fall asleep. And so when you keep your eyes open, this is how you can practice. And you can even do this at work. You'll probably have a meeting, your boss has a lot of things to say, and you can just, practice meditation. And this is what I used to do. Once I learned meditation, to keep my eyes open. So this is a good way to keep your eyes open. And, as I mentioned, we are sleepwalking as it is. And, slowly and slowly you'll feel so comfortable when you keep your eyes open. And then you can even go further when you come home, or if you're tired. What we do when we used to get very tired, when we used to meditate, the idea is you look up. If you're feeling asleep, if you're feeling very sleepy that day, your head is tilted, just your eyes are looking up. So, on a tired day, that's something you can do. On a day that you're, very agitated, your mind is constantly on the move, your mind is constantly thinking, again, sit up straight keep your eyes lower. So that prevents a lot of agitation. So when you feel your vision is getting blurred, change that object into something else. And just to gently gaze at that. And, perhaps initially when you do, it's a little strange when you keep your eyes open. Perhaps slowly you'll get used to it. And tomorrow I'm going to be teaching. See, today the attention is on the object. And tomorrow I'll teach a breath meditation, putting your attention on your breath. And then I will also teach putting your attention on a mantra. Because these are all techniques, what I want to show you, where, when you have an agitated mind, how to calm your mind quickly. And so I want to start off with this object meditation because it's very easy. Anyone have any other question? Wonderful. I'm so happy. All of you are doing like absolute experts. I can see all of you in the retreat very soon. Okay, so we're going to do another session of it. I'm going to ring the gong. So sit upright, and like I mentioned, anytime you feel uncomfortable sitting on the floor, you can always go and sit on the chair, okay? The most important thing is to be relaxed. Your body should not hurt in any way. And all of you who are sitting on the chair, you are doing very excellent as well. Wonderful. Inhale and exhale. Breathe normally. Breathe gently. And as you exhale, let your breath fill the entire space in front of you. And just relax in that present moment of awareness. Bring your attention gently on the object. Don't study it, just gaze at it. The minute you catch yourself thinking, just say thinking. Don't engage in your thoughts. Just let go and bring your mind's attention back on that object that you've chosen. Inhale and exhale. Breathe normally. Breathe gently in your own rhythm. And as you exhale, let your breath fill the entire room in front of you. And just relax in that present moment of awareness. Let go of all your concerns and relax. Do not block your thoughts. The idea is not to make your mind blank. Thoughts are a natural part of mind. Your mind is like the sky, and the thoughts are like clouds. They come and go without leaving a trace. The minute you catch yourself thinking, just say thinking. Don't engage in your thoughts, and bring your attention back to the object in front of you and gently gaze at it. Okay, relax, stretch your legs. Any thoughts? Any questions? Is it getting easy or is it getting difficult? Or is your mind somewhere else, like on Friday night, what you should be doing? How many of you have started making lists while you were meditating? It's a good time now to make, in this little moment of quietness, I'm going to make my list of what I should wear for Halloween. Did anyone think of that? No. Any thoughts, any questions? Please go ahead.
Okay, what is the difference between thoughts coming and going like clouds without a trace and thinking?
Oh, wonderful. That's a wonderful question. So in the tradition, we refer to our mind, because it's hard to describe what it is, we refer to the mind like space-like. That it is unlimited, it has no limitation, the mind. And then we refer to thoughts like clouds, the clouds, because we have so many different thoughts, and they're like clouds. They come and go. They don't leave a trace. But what we tend to do is we engage in those thoughts. Supposing most of these thoughts, which if we have had a fight with somebody, something that upsets us, that thought keeps coming, like regurgitating. Someone who has upset us or something, we are angry. But in this formal meditation practice where you sat down and where I was asking you, when you have a thought, acknowledge the thought and let it go, right? Don't engage in it. This is a practice that you're going to start practicing, because the thought doesn't have so much power to control us. So in the tradition, we refer to our mind like space-like. It's unlimited, and the thoughts are like clouds. They come and go. But we engage in it. We engage in the thoughts, and that's why something that upsets us, something that bothers us, the thought repeats itself. But as you sit and practice like this during the formal meditation practice, when you have these thoughts, disturbing thoughts, you can say, I'm going to let it go. This is a practice. You're practicing your mind like how you practice your body. And there's another reference they do is like, the mind is like a sky. And it's like the birds, when they fly, they don't leave a trace. So our thoughts are like that, because we have millions of thoughts and they don't leave a trace. The only thoughts that we engage in it is thoughts that bother us. And mostly what happens with the mind is we do have lovely, pleasant thoughts, but more often we have the thoughts that are upsetting. We have thoughts of anger, we have thoughts of jealousy, we have thoughts of anxiety. Those are the thoughts that a majority of our thoughts are those thoughts. And that's why what we are trying to do is, in this formal practice, we practice how we can let go of that thought that bother us. And soon you'll get really better. And one of the most important things to do as a practice when you go home, start looking at what your mind's thoughts are. So our teacher would say that to us, watch your mind, watch your mind. That was his mantra. So obviously when I was in the retreat in the mornings, especially in the mornings, all the people I would have all these thoughts of all the people I want to tell off. And I would say, oh no, you can't say that. You're in a retreat. All the mean things I wanted to say. As I was learning. And then this is the word Gong, I love, the Tibetan word for meditation. Because you're making your mind your friend. You're like, no, you don't have to think that way. You can. That's familiarizing yourself with your mind, because you are the thinker and you're also the observer. The more important is the observer. That's the more importance you give the observer. So how many of you all think your mind is kind of limited? How many of you all today are very stressed and you're like, no more, I can't take it anymore? Does anyone feel like that today on a Friday? Oh, there's a hand there, okay. Yes, you feel like that, right? And what if I told you your mind is absolutely it's unlimited? And I was reading a wonderful book by Kalu Rinpoche. The author's name is Kalu Rinpoche, and this is Luminous Mind. The book was called Luminous Mind. And what Kalu Rinpoche, in one of his chapters, to describe what an unlimited mind is, he would say, now all of you will just come back to your meditation posture and bring this beautiful room to your mind. And I want to know how many of you all can visualize this room in your mind. Was it easy? Could you bring this room in your mind's visualization? Was it? Was it easy to bring this room into your mind's visualization? You don't have to bring each picture, just the space. Any hands? Great. Now, how many of you all can bring this room and your house into your mental visualization? It's easy. In a second, you can do it in a second, right? Not every detail, but was it possible? And what about Kansas City? So this room, your house, and Kansas City. Is it easy? Was it easy? Oh wow, we have a lot of hands. Smartest crowd I've ever been. Thank you so much. Now, what is this favorite movie? What is a popular movie that all of you have watched? Godfather, maybe? Harry Potter. So how many of you all, everybody has a favorite movie here, right? And whatever that is. So can you bring into visualization this room and your house, Kansas City, and the movie? Is it possible? Yes? Right? You can do it in a second, right? All those who said yes? Was it easy? So now, what about another movie? Just to have fun. Let's see if your mind can do even more funny, wonderful things. Another favorite movie. So this room, your house, Kansas City, your first favorite movie, and your second favorite movie. Is it possible for you all to bring that into your mind? To visualize it all? How many of you all? Yes? You don't have to do it in a very detailed thing, but you can overall, right? So, any hands up? You know what? Now you can never say, I've had it, no more. My mind, I can't do it. No, your mind, if you are an aerial pilot, you can bring the whole universe into your mind. That's how spacious it is. So today you can no more say, no, that's too much, I can't handle it, my mind is going crazy. No, you can fit in everything in your mind, this whole universe. So that's why one of Rumi's, Rumi the poet, he had a wonderful quote which said, the universe is within you. This is what he means, in your mind's sphere. So imagine all the love and compassion in your mind. You have it all there. Abundance and abundance and abundance to give. So this is the beauty of your mind. This is why when you start going internal, because right now we are constantly external, everything that stimulates us, and the minute something stops, we want to pick up a phone, our phone or our gadgets to get that stimulation externally. But the minute you figure this, how beautiful your mind is, you start looking inward. You don't need the outside world. There's so much peace. There's so much contentment. There's a great story of Milarepa. And Milarepa was a Tibetan yogi, and he's one of the most famous yogis. All the Tibetans love to make reference to him, and they're very encouraged because he was enlightened being, and he became enlightened in one lifetime, which apparently is pretty hard to achieve. So Milarepa was he was very, very poor. When he started becoming a yogi, he didn't have any clothes. He lived in the most harshest climate, and he had no food. For years he would only have nettle soup. But he was so joyous, and why they knew he was joyous? Because he composed so many songs, and these were all devotional songs. So the joy, the happiness is never from the external world. It's always within. And we forget this, so we try to make ourselves happy with the latest gadget, get the latest house, the car, and you can get as many as you can, but it can never make you happy. The happiness lies within you. And if ever you'll have a chance, please read about Milarepa. He was one of the greatest yogis, and it took him one lifetime to become enlightened. He was like the golden child of Tibet. And I thought there was a statue of Milarepa. Was it upstairs? Yes, there's a statue of Milarepa. Oh, wonderful. Yes. And he even wore just a lion cloth, in that harshest climate. He didn't have any warm clothes. And it was not that he lived centuries before, he was pretty recent. And he's very relatable, Milarepa. Any other thoughts, any questions you all had? Yes, please.
I've read that Milarepa used black magic to kill people, and then he still found enlightenment.
Yes. A very good question. Milarepa, used black magic, but he still got enlightened. So yes, that was the wonderful story of Milarepa. Milarepa, when he was young, his father passed away. So his father entrusted his father's brother to take care of the family. But what happened was the brother's family took away all their property, and they made Milarepa, his sister, and the mother, they started working as in the farm. They became the workers rather than the owners. And there was a promise that the father's brother gave the dying father of Milarepa, that when the Milarepa reaches 18 years old, or he will give back all the family land and everything back to Milarepa's family, and it never happened. So the mother was heartbroken. Here they were basically had all ragged clothes, and they didn't have much to eat, and they were working for the brother's family. So the mother said, "You must destroy the family. You have to do some black magic." So Milarepa went and studied all this black magic, and he was able to bring a huge thunderstorm and hail and killed hundreds of people. Now, in most of the Buddhist tradition, to do something so harmful would mean that you would have the lowest birth, karmically. But Milarepa then went on. He regretted so much what he did, and he went on to find one of the best teachers, Marpa, the translator, who went to India and gathered all these teachings. And through and of course Marpa put him into work, because he had done so many wrong things. Marpa made him build a lot of buildings and destroy it. And this was a way for Marpa, through his wisdom, wanted Milarepa to get rid of his karma. And then Milarepa got fully enlightened. And what does an enlightened mind mean? An enlightened mind means that you are not going to be born in this cyclical birth, which is life, old age, sickness, death. It's the same cycle. And then when you are enlightened, instantaneously you can be at millions of places, and then you can help beings. And And I think innately we have that nature. You know, most of us, when we are children, we all want to save the ants. You know, that's where we start, and that's something as we grow older, we probably forget that. But that's an innate nature, the Buddha nature we have. It's just labeled Buddha, that beautiful, compassionate nature we have, and that's what we want to bring out. This nature, because nobody wants to be that grumpy and hateful and mean person. It's not fun. I think it's more fun to be compassionate, more loving and kindness. And what happens when you have those qualities? You attract those very qualities back to you. And this is what my personal experience when I started doing meditation, and then when I started doing the Chenrezig practice, I started attracting compassionate people around me. And that's when I said, oh my God, this is absolute gold. I felt it. And I had another confirmation today that somebody else, Lama Matthew also, that sadhana, the practice of Chenrezig is so powerful that it really transforms you. So let's go back and do a little more. Oh, anyone else have any questions? Any thoughts to share? So we'll go back and do a little bit more meditation. Wonderful. Sit upright. Bring back all the 7 postures to your mind and sit as comfortably as you can. Inhale and exhale. Breathe normally. And as you breathe out, let the breath fill the entire space in front of you. And gently bring your attention back on that object, what you have chosen. Lightly gaze on it, don't study it. Anytime you catch yourself thinking, just say thinking, acknowledge it, let it go, and bring your attention back to the object in front of you. Inhale and exhale. Breathe normally in your own rhythm. And just relax in that present moment of awareness. Don't block your thoughts. Let your thoughts come and go. But the minute you catch yourself thinking, just say thinking and gently let go and bring your attention back to the object in front of you. Okay, relax a little bit. How did it feel? Was it easy? Wonderful, you're really becoming experts. I'm wondering it'll be a cave or something that y'all are going to start meditating. Any thoughts? Any questions? Yes?
So myself, I struggle more with blocking out external noises,
Yes.
especially because I live more in the country. So I hear there's the cricket. Oh, that's a toad.
Yes.
Now I hear the squirrel in the tree. So how can you?
How lovely. Yes.
It's good to be mindful of everything around me, but then I really, I'm trying to find a way to maybe not have all those thoughts everywhere else.
All the noises around you, it's a kind of your concern. Is that shift, right?
Yes.
So there is meditation, as I mentioned, there are different techniques of meditation, right? Right now you're putting your mind's attention on an object. So the other type of meditation is also, we do a meditation on sound, whereas we sit in this posture, what I mentioned, and then just putting your attention on your breath, which I'll be teaching you tomorrow. And what you would do is, all the noises that surrounds you, you just are like listening to it. You're not letting that one particular noise bother you. And slowly, it's such a comforting thing when you start doing that, where you're not, because even me, I'm quite sensitive to noises. But after I learned how to do this technique of meditation, where you sit again in the posture, and then, let the noise just drift in and out. You're not going to, you're just going to let it come, drift in and out. You're not going to make any particular sound prominent, or another saying, I like this, or I like this sound, I don't like this sound. So it's something like equanimity to sound as well. And it's a form of meditation that you can learn, the sound meditation. If I had more time, I would teach you that as well. Since we have and anyone else had any thoughts? Yes?
Since we come from the same tradition, if that's okay not to get up. So I'm being flooded with a lot of our teachers, and I remember one of the fifth instructions that Rinpoche and Lama Deichi said that all sound is mantra.
Yes.
So the training of, as you say, equanimity,
yes,
working in a field of with people that have dementia, it's interesting that what they hear, like the thing that we would concretize as noise or honking horns, this one particular patient heard as a symphony.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is workable.
Yes.
So I was just reminded of Deichi's.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, so in the tradition, we refer to all sound being the sound of mantra. And I'm going to be teaching you all a mantra as well in the next session, because my whole goal, what I want to give you all the tools and techniques where, teaching a mantra would immediately, the stress. Sometimes, like you have immense stress, or you're really angry, and you really want to come to a place of equanimity, and so you can use all these different techniques. You can use the technique of the object, you can use the technique of the breath, you can use the technique of the mantra. So you're like foolproof. Nobody can shake you. So this is something I want you all to learn. And this is tomorrow. I'll teach you the breath, and I'll teach you the mantra as well. And any thoughts? Another thing I want to add, we have 7 postures of Vairochana. I want to add another one, not a posture, but a smile. It really helps, to add, when you start to meditate. Why not? It's your choice, right? You can have a smile on your face. No, there's so much in the world to be happy. So add that smile to your face, and you'll just see it's very magical. You'll feel a state of happiness within you. So you can do that as well. Because why are we sad, really? Look at this country. We have so much freedom here. We have, if you want to want any type of groceries, it's like a few miles away. We have everything. We are so privileged. And a lot of Tibetan monks, or they refer to America as like Deva Chen. Deva Chen means, Deva Chen is land of bountiful, like heaven. Deva Chen literally means heaven. And so, have you ever thought how many people would exchange your lives to be in America? And all the trouble people take to come to America. And then when they come here, they see all these grumpy faces. Wouldn't that be so sad? We've crushed their dreams instantly. So every day, like there was this, there was an example, or I mentioned, and I'm going to do the same with you all. It's a test. Well, if there was a computer program and you could come on the program, your face comes on the program, and it says like, how many people will in the world, in the universe, will exchange their lives to yours? So was this question understandable? So on a computer program, you come on, and it says, how many people in the whole entire universe will exchange their lives for yours? So now, in the world, there's 7.5 billion people. So, any hands up? How many? Is it 10%, 5%, 3%? 99%. That's a very confident person. I love that. I really like that. Very confident, right? 99%. Someone else?
On my worst day, 99.
On your worst day. Very confident, very good. Anyone else? Lama Matthew? 10%. Sure, okay. Anyone? If somebody were to ask me, I would say like 80%, in the sense, a billion people in India, half of them would probably want to exchange. My life, living in America, having this freedom. Anybody else? How many people would want to exchange their lives with yours? At least 1 million, would you say? I would say more than 1 billion. I would say 500 million would want to exchange their lives for mine. And so then we should be skipping. We should be dancing. We should be so happy to be here, to enjoy this moment. And if you really look at it, what is the difference when you were born? It was just by birth, you were born in a different country, and you were the lucky one to be born in such a developed country where you have all the freedom, even the freedom to come and sit here, and a freedom of leisure for you to sit and meditate. For most parts, even in Tibet, the women couldn't go and become nuns or ordained, or they didn't have the time. They had to take care of the families, and it was only the men had the privilege of being monks. So we should be so happy every morning to remind ourselves how lucky we are to be born in this country, to have all the privileges, to be so blessed, and so. We should have that smile on our faces all the time, and that's like the generosity that we're giving everybody, the love, the compassion, with that smile. Any thoughts? Any other things you all want to share?
If I may share before my question,
Yes,
smiling is
Yeah.
something I adopted myself a long time ago. And I was walking down the street one day, and I said, "Why wouldn't I smile?" Right? And I started smiling even on purpose, even on bad days.
Wonderful.
And I started noticing how I would influence my own state of mind just through smiling. And my question is, maybe I take a little too literal, but sometimes when I try to observe a thought, I have this idea that some people have told me that you're able to observe it at the very moment. Observe this thought as it arises and leaves. But I only find myself able to notice it after it happens, kind of like remembering it. And I was hoping you could maybe clarify that for me.
This is a very intelligent question. Like, you really think very deeply. Thank you for that question. So when the thought arises, you can acknowledge it. Is it?
Yes. So when the thought arises, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I'm thinking, but when I try to I'm running behind it, right? I try to grasp it, but it disappears, right? It's not there anymore. I'm remembering it now.
Oh my God, this is very profound what you just said. It's extremely profound. And this is what we are practicing. It is a practice like it's called Mahamudra, Mahamudra being great seal. So when you have these mental afflictions, when you have these such conflicting thoughts, these thoughts that are driving, if you really look at the thought, stare at it, they disappear. And this is one of the biggest teachings of Buddhism, is emptiness. The mind that's limitless, it's also empty, where things don't stay, as thoughts and words don't stay, they disappear. They don't have that capability. The thoughts don't have that strength or something to stay in your mind. Now, why do we do Shamatha, the meditation we're doing right now, which is called Shinay, Shamatha, calm abiding? Because in this moment of peace, first we will learn to have calmness, and then the abiding the calmness. And then it's insight meditation. And the insight meditation is when we have all these thoughts which makes us anxious, which is depressing. When you stare at that, it disappears. It has no capability of that staying power. So that's a very, very important observation you made. And all of us can make this. When you do have conflicting thoughts, when these thoughts are so depressing, such anxiety resulted, stressful, stare at them. That's why really begin to look at your thoughts when you go home. Very often start to say, what am I thinking now? What am I thinking? This is my teacher's lesson all the time. Listen, look at your thoughts, look at your thoughts, look at your thoughts. And another thing what happens is when, my teacher would say, whatever your thoughts are coming up, rest in that. Whatever your thoughts are coming, rest in that thoughts. And this is something you can do, when you're doing this meditation practice. It's such a simple technique, but it's extremely profound. And so thank you for that question. It's a very profound thought you shared with us. Thank you. Anyone else has anything to share?
So I wanted to see if you had some recommendations. We often do retreats like this, structured in a similar way of Friday and Saturday, and many people have wanted more time to practice. So tomorrow we've opened up, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock as a meditation hour. But I know this is very much a retreat that is accessible for people very new to meditation, along with people who have been doing it for some time. So I wanted to see if you had a suggestion or recommendation for that hour period, so that people don't feel so afraid of an hour, or it can feel that is very accessible.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, an hour meditation seems like a very long time. But wow, practice makes you perfect. Practice will make you so much better. And what you can do is, and this goes to this wonderful book I read. It's by Mingyur Rinpoche, The Joy of Living. I don't know whether you have it in your library. Do you have this? It's a wonderful book. It's called The Joy of Living by Mingyur Rinpoche. And he gives you the techniques how to even meditate for a minute. How many of you knew you can meditate for a minute? Raise your hands. Oh, very, very smart class. Yes, wonderful. So tomorrow, if you were to, when you sit and when you sit for that 8 to 1 hour class, what you can do is you can break it up a little bit by first, this posture that I taught you all, the 7 points of Vairochana. Again, it's 7 points of Vairochana. You can always Google it. All these steps are very well explained there. So what you can do is first make yourself comfortable sitting. Just sit with that posture. And as I mentioned, when you sit on the chair, it's best not to lean on the seat because when you lean forward and you sit upright, my intention, what I want you all to develop is just the mind itself. Like the body is not so prominent once you start learning, once you become very good at meditation. So first, just sit with the posture, and then bring into mind all the 7 postures. Another thing is, why you tilt your neck a little bit with your tongue touching the upper palate is so, you don't salivate, because sometimes you tend to salivate. So you just do that and tilt your head a little bit. So you can sit with the posture, and then watch your mind, what your thoughts are, and then time yourself. You can, you can just, once you feel like that's enough, very important, whenever you sit for meditation, the minute you feel, okay, I'm feeling good, that's when you get out of your meditation. Not when you're like, oh, I'm aching and everything, because that's a good method. And another thing what I want to tell you is what is not meditation. How many of us have sat at home and done this, brought ourselves to some kind of a meditation blissful state, right? When we start meditation, we think that's what meditation is. We contrive these things. Has anyone done this, or is it just me? We bring ourselves to a blank state of mind, or we say, yesterday I had a very good experience. I'm going to bring that experience into mind. Meditation is not that. Meditation is about nowness, the present moment. So don't bring any state into being when you start to meditate. So when you do that hour, first sit with yourself and just feel all that 7 points of posture. And then put your attention, pick something that you can identify, like a small pebble, a stick, or a flower as an object. Otherwise your eyes may get blurred. So you could do that. And then sit for a few minutes. And the minute you're feeling good, again, stretch a little bit. It's not advisable to go and make a cup of coffee or something like that if you're sitting for the meditation. When you're finished, you can do that. But that's how you can break it up, sit for a few moments and then come back and then just relax a little bit. And then again, build yourself up 5 minutes. And then this is something you can do at home. When you sit, it's not like when you go to yoga, where you have to put all the gear and have your milkshakes and all your protein shakes. Meditation is, you can just sit with wear something comfortable and sit. It's that easy. Soon, once you get familiar with this, you can walk and meditate. You can meditate anywhere, and this is the technique you have to kind of sit through and learn it. And then you'll be very, very comfortable. And this technique, what I've given you, the 7 points and the shamatha, it's from the tradition. Nobody made it up a year ago. It's all dates back, all the way back to the Buddha's time. So it's something people have practiced this meditation and become enlightened. Milarepa practiced this. The Buddha himself practiced this meditation. So it weighs in gold. This is one of the most important techniques. And you also have to be very careful. These days, there's a lot of well-intentioned minded people, teaching meditation, like new age meditation. You have to question the teachers. How many years of experience have you had? What type of meditation are you doing? Because it's like going to a yoga class who has done 20 hours or even 300 hours. Back in India, the masters would laugh at it. They have been trained for 12 years, 10 years, 15 years where they teach yoga. But it's good to start. You have to start somewhere, and it's good to start. So question the teachers, whether it's yoga or even meditation, because they are dealing with your mind. Oh, wonderful. We have 10 more minutes. Should we do our last minute of meditation? Any questions? Yes.
I have a question about calming my mind, and it has to do when I'm outside of meditation or just in daily life. Songs will get stuck in my head. I'm just walking along, and all of a sudden Justin Bieber's like, baby, 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 whoa, and it just goes over and over.
Yes.
Is there something that you might be able to teach this weekend that could maybe help me with that?
Oh, yes, wonderful. Fantastic. So you must love, are you a singer?
I sing so low that no one can hear me.
But this happens to all of us, right? We get stuck in a song. And again, when you're meditating, this is what the mind does. The nature of mind is such. It's either it's a thought or it's an emotion. The mind loves to go and engage in it. It keeps going on, engaging on it. Same thing with the song. It loves that tune, and it's habitual. How all of us are creation of habits. These are all habits, and the meditation is a new habit that you're going to bring into being. Is the first thing when you go home, you listen to music, right? Or the car, and that's become a habit. So your mind continuously wants that stimulation. And then the mind has become habituated for that tune to keep playing. So what you do, this is when you're paying attention to your mind. What are you thinking? Oh, you're you're beginning to repeat the tune, and you again stare at that thought, look at that thought with all your attention, and it'll disappear. And it will happen to you. It may not happen to you immediately, but as more often you start looking at your mind's thoughts, that's what it does. It doesn't have that staying power. The thoughts don't weigh in stone that it has that power to stay. This is what first is your calm, abiding shamatha meditation, and then it's the insight meditation. And when you do the insight meditation, it's staring at you're becoming the observer of your mind's thoughts. And that's what you should practice when you go home. Thank you. But I learned something very important much later in my life. When I started meditating, my first class, I said, I've got everything. Now, I went to my first class, I should get everything. I didn't realize even meditation is a progress. It's, each time I used to go, my teacher would say something. Somebody would give me a little more clue. Because you can't cover the whole of meditation in one session. And that's wonderful that you can even come. And please make this your place to come and meditate, because there's a lot of blessings even in all these beautiful tankas. That is why we do this first prayer, which is the taking refuge. You can do any prayer. You can just visualize and say, please help me in my spiritual path, because meditation is in a spiritual path. And all the Buddha's blessings are there. And you can, ask for the blessings. Say, bless me with this, even when your meditation is not going through. Please help me with my meditation. And there's a saying, when you ask the universe will help you. And that is true. That's 100% true. Any other thoughts? Any other questions? Wonderful. We have 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and let's get back into the posture and we'll do meditation. Inhale and exhale. Breathe normally. And as you breathe out, let your breath fill the entire space in front of you. And just relax in that present moment of awareness. And bring your mind's attention on that object you have chosen. And just gaze at it. Anytime your mind wanders off, gently bring that mind's attention on that object and place it there. Don't block your thoughts. Anytime you catch yourself thinking, just say thinking, acknowledge it, let it go, don't engage in it, and gently bring your mind's attention on the object. Okay, relax. So before we end this class, I'm sure Lama Matthew has some prayers, and I will recite a dedication prayer. And the reason we do this dedication prayer, and as I mentioned, when we started, there's 3 parts to the meditation. The first is going for refuge, which is just saying, please, Buddhas, help me in my spiritual path. Please help me. You can ask for the universe as well. And then the second is always the body of the that is the meditation. And third is the dedication. So in the tradition, dedication is so important. Why? Because we have done such a noble thing. Of all of us, we sat here today, we meditated. And why did we meditate? Because we want not only to have a wonderful life for ourselves, but to also give that back. And when you give in the dedication, this is such a meritorious thing we did. And what we say in the prayers is, let the merit be shared with all the sentient beings. So our merit never ends. It's always multiplying, because there's so many sentient beings. And all of you all must tap your shoulders, because you'll have done such a noble thing. This 1 hour, you have come here for, 2 hours. You have come here and you've only had wonderful thoughts. You did not hurt anyone. It was a beautiful space that you're here in prayers and trying to evolve spiritually. And thank you all for coming in. So I'm going to read this dedication prayers, and Lama Matthew probably will do the same. So Nam de tamshe shepane tona nepe drana pamshene chega nachi bala trupai sipe sele droa sho jampal pavo jita chanpadang kuntu zampo dean deshinte deda kunji jesu dalo shingeva die tamshe ratuno Gewa diye shewo kun sona meshe sosone, sona meshe le jungwa dampa kune topa sho. Sanje kusun ne pejen lada, choni menjo den pejen lada. Gendon meche den pejen lachi, jita noa mola drupa sho. And I'll do the English translation. Through this merit, attaining omniscience, having defeated all harmful enemies, the mental afflictions, may I liberate all beings from the ocean of existence, which is swept with the wave of birth, old age, sickness, and death. The courageous one, Jampal, knows things as they are, as does Kuntu Sangpo. May I train following the example and completely dedicate all of these virtues. Through this virtue, may all the beings, having perfected the accumulation of merit and wisdom, attain the two sacred bodies of Buddha that arise from the merit and wisdom. Through the blessings of the Buddhas who have attained the three bodies, and the blessings of the ultimate changeless Dharma, and the blessings of the infinite aspiration of the Sangha, dedicating in accord with the truth, may my aspiration prayers be accomplished. Thank you.